Christopher, not sure what happened to you, man.
Yo, I had no idea. Sorry about that. I don't know, it was kind of lagging. My bad.
All good.
So we're back on. So I don't know what part you got, what part you didn't get, but yeah, that's what it was.
No, so we were saying about your brain waves early in the morning and how
Yeah,
you get to have a lot of peace. Nobody's disturbing you at
100%.
4 a.m., right? So
100%. 100%. And
and
within that as well,
also
and sorry, go ahead.
you're lagging again. That's why.
Oh, okay. So yeah, furthermore, within that, like once you state your intention for the day, you're gonna have such a better day because the part of your brain that's called the reticular activating system knows how to go get what you need within that day. So if you're writing it down that your goal for today is, let's say, get 10 contacts or 10 sales or speak to this person or be positive within this or get in the flow with my work, you're already asking your brain to start looking for cues to accomplish those goals. So yeah, that's one thing as well in the morning that really helps out when you're doing the proper steps that you need to succeed essentially.
And one of the things you mentioned is that it's now proven that pressing snooze is totally useless, correct?
Yeah. So that's one thing we're working on together on the aspect of once you're going through a sleep cycle. So essentially an average sleep cycle is anywhere between 90 minutes to 110 minutes. Now, once you're in a sleep cycle and you're going in and out of sleep cycles, as you go like at the end of your sleep cycle, so I'm talking about like an 8-hour sleep normal, at the last couple of hours, your sleep is less and less deep. You're going into more REM cycles, which is more to the dreaming cycles. Your rapid eye movement is happening. And if you go press snooze, your body subconsciously or consciously knows that, okay, if he's going back in sleep, when he's supposed to wake up and he's going back in sleep, he's going into a new sleep cycle. So you actually could wake up a few minutes later more drowsy because your body's going back into a sleep cycle. Towards when the snooze comes on, your body's getting ready to wake up. You should be getting up right away. You think that 5 minutes is going to give you extra like rest, but it does the complete opposite. It's like the example, I'm sure some of your viewers has probably taken a power nap, and instead of waking up in 20 minutes afterwards feeling fresh, they've passed that 20 minutes and they wake up an hour later and they actually wake up more drowsy. It's because an hour, you're like right in the middle of your sleep cycle. Like we said, a normal sleep cycle is anywhere between 90 to 110 minutes, which is approximately, that's rounded up to 120 minutes, which is approximately 2 hours. So yeah, you can't wake up in the middle of a cycle essentially. It's not good for you.
Awesome. And somebody had asked, how do you stay concentrated while reading a book? Because honestly, I think a lot of people have that, it's great to read books and everything.
I love it.
Like,
I love it.
Even myself, like, I'm starting to read in the morning and then, my brain starts going everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do to stay focused?
I love that question because I recently heard somebody say that reading is a forced meditation. Because when you're reading and you're thoroughly there, you can't think about anything else. If you actually have that book and you're going through it and you're reading it page by page and you're really involved with it, you can't think about anything else. Once you start thinking about something else, then you actually lost the thought pattern of the book, right? And you bring it back. So if your question was, how do I do it to be more focused on it? Honestly, meditation has helped a lot, and any other technique to really work on my focus, because meditation essentially is that when you're sitting down and you're meditating, and let's say you're thinking about your breath in and out, which is anapana meditation, which is meditation taught by Buddha. You're taking that time to think of your breath, but it's normal within that time to think about other things. You'll be like, oh my God, I have to go to the gym. I have this client, I have this, I have that. But once you start noticing that you're thinking about other things, that's actually meditation. The fact that you're noticing it. And then you just have to bring it back to the breath. So once you start developing that, I'm noticing my mind is going here and I'm bringing it back, noticing my mind is going here, bringing it back, that moment of noticing it is so much shorter, and that moment of you losing that mind is so much less. So it's practice. It's the same thing as going to the gym and working on curls, right? Doing your biceps. The more and more you do it, the stronger your bicep will become because you're ripping your fiber, protein tissues and all that stuff and rebuilding it. So that's the best explanation I can give. It just continuous practice. The more you do it, just like anything, the more you'll be able to concentrate and stay focused on it. And obviously,
so like every time you miss, like, let's say, for example, no problem. Every time you miss, like, let's say you start realizing, oh man, shit, I'm defocused. You have to go back to the same page and reread again, obviously, right?
Yeah, exactly. If I miss somewhere, I just go back to where was the last time that I lost focus. But another thing as well, when it comes to reading, I position myself in places and in moments in my day that I've created neural networks. So a neural network essentially is a pattern that is created from one neuron to another. So in your brain, you have over like 100 billions of neurons. Once there's a neuron that connects to each other, it's called a neural network. And if you develop that neural network so much, it becomes so much thicker. Let me give you an example a bit more thorough. Imagine you wake up, right? You probably always wake up on the same side of bed. You probably go put your stuff on. You probably press the coffee machine. You start getting with that, right? And if you've been doing that for years and years, that neural network has been done so significantly that it almost becomes second nature. You don't even realize you're going in and doing this. Or maybe you got into your car, you go to work, and then you get to work. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even remember anything about driving to work because you've been doing it for so long. Your neural networks have been created. Now, what am I saying with the reading? I have created a certain place in my house, a certain way to sit, and a certain lighting that when I create that, I've created that neural network. So my mind instantly knows when Chris is sitting here at this moment, he's reading. So my concentration level goes super high because I have cultivated that. And those are like tricks from neural linguistic processing of how to adapt that. So these are little tricks that I've developed as well. It's called anchoring, essentially.
I love it. I love it. And by the way, off topic, we know that you're Armenian, and
yes,
you were celebrating the Armenian Genocide, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. It was April 24th, which was literally, we're 27th, so it was last Friday. So yeah, it was our 105th anniversary. So I was thanking you for highlighting that, which was the Ottoman Empire, unfortunately, the genocide to the Armenian people. And the main thing with that, if we take a few minutes on this, which thank you for allowing this, the only reason we're still, not only reason, but the main reason that we're still very active about talking about this is because now a lot of countries still haven't accepted that this was a genocide for a lot of political reasons, for a lot of money reasons, for a lot of territory reasons. And unfortunately, one of the main countries that we're trying to get accepted is Turkey, which was the Ottoman Empire back in the day. So that's why we have a lot of advocation, and we're very loud as much as possible that we could be as Armenians and as society. So just to, to right the right things, to right the wrongs and bring it back on the right, and just trying to get turn a page. I thoroughly want to turn the page on this as much as possible. Never forget about it, but to step forward with that. So thank you for that, Nick.
Absolutely. Well, I know because obviously the Greeks and the Armenians,
yes,
we kind of have the same history with the Ottoman Empire, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And when we talk about Ottoman Empire, I know people that are Turks and they're super nice and all that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a circumstance and events, right? And just like the Second World War, some people were in positions that they had no choice to do certain things, which is terrible. But it was a circumstance and situations that created those things. We just want people to turn the page and go towards the right direction, which is peace and love and happiness, empathy and respect, right? So that's where we're kind of working towards.
Absolutely. And what book are you? I mean, you also said I was watching last time a Facebook Live with you and Yann Lajoie, and you were mentioning something about a coach. Make sure if you get a coach that they have a coach as well.
Yes, I love that. Thank you for bringing that up. So that's actually the first thing. I'm a coach, right? I have clients and all that stuff. I personally have 8 coaches and mentors in different aspects of my life. And every single time a coach either approaches me or life makes it that I approach them, first thing I ask them is, who's your coach? Do you have a coach? And if a coach doesn't have a coach, I'm not going to commit into them. How could you buy something from somebody that doesn't believe in their own product? It just doesn't make sense to me. That's the way I look at it. This is my personal opinion. But I'm always developing my tribe, and the people that I work with have a growth mindset. So if I'm not with somebody that is into self-development, working on bettering themselves every single day in whatever shape or form, and they don't have somebody checking them, how can I be necessarily associated with them? So if somebody is looking for a coach, please ask them who is their coach and what their mindset is with that as well. So that's actually a good way to look at it as well, because there's a lot of people that are unfortunately in this industry. Maybe they take a course and whatever the case is, and that's it, and they're like, all right, cool, let me get essentially some income out of this, but they're not working on their self-development. This is like an ongoing process, a life process. And it kind of goes into, let's talk about that. You kind of gave me the tennis ball on the Armenian side. Let me give it back to you with the Greek side. Socrates, one of my favorite philosophers, Greek homie. I think one of the greatest things that Greece gave us was philosophy, so much more than actually democracy. But anyways, Socrates, one of his famous quotes says, true wisdom is knowing that you know nothing. So that is one of the main things that I live by, because every single time we learn something new, you realize how much you don't know. And you have to be humble to put yourself in a position of, all right, cool, I don't know, so I'm going to put my position of a eternal learner. I'm always going to learn. Every single day I'm going to learn. So that's the way I look at it.
I love it. I know one thing is that I know nothing. Always be open-minded, and
Yes.
always be having the student mentality.
Exactly. Even if
Now,
you are the teacher, have that student mentality.
absolutely, 100%. And let's say, who should look like, who's the best type of client that should get a life coach? Like, is it people that own a business? Is it every day, 9 to 5? Is it anyone? What's your opinion on that?
So the answer is anyone. Like everybody and anybody should do it. Now, does it mean that everybody does it? No. Does it mean that there are certain people that are attracted to that more? Yes. So if we talk about who should do it, everybody should do it. If we talk about who's the most people that are attracted to it, in my personal experience, it has been entrepreneurs or highly positioned business owners. Why so? Is because these people understand what it takes to get there. They have gotten there, and they understand the main thing, which we just said, is that they're always eternal learners. So they're always looking for competitive edges from one way, shape, or form. They're the ones that if you go to any seminar, you go to a Tony Robbins seminar, you go to a local seminar where the speaker go this or that, the person that's the best in that industry is sitting front row and he's there. So that just tells it right there, right? So the people that I personally attract are all entrepreneurs, business owners, or people that really want to go to that next level. I do attract as well some people that maybe are hitting like a very difficult moment within their life. And they're like, okay, I know that there's another level. I know there's something else. What can I do to get there? And they're trying to find that answer. And they get across me. Maybe they know somebody, like imagine you refer somebody like, oh my God, whatever the case is. And that's some clients that I attract as well. So yeah, that's essentially the people that come to coaching. High achievers, really.
But let's say, for example, people that, they want to get coaching and,
Yeah.
but obviously it's a privilege, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not free.
It's not.
So
it's not.
What would you be, somebody that's, working, they want to better themselves and,
Yeah.
They want to get the benefits of having a life coach,
Yeah.
but financially they're not really, really good. What would you advise on that? You're cutting again.
Okay, you kind of froze up, but I'm guessing you were asking somebody that doesn't have the funds to pay a life coach, can you do it?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So once again, that's an awesome question. And the reality of the matter is there's two things. Like coaching services is not given. It's really, there is definitely some, financial investment for yourself that you have to go into that. Now, if somebody comes in.
Jimmy says accordé.
Accordé. So once you're somebody that really wants to go into that and financially not there yet, there are so many other ways right now, especially in 2020, to get these content on for free. Me personally as well, go on my YouTube channel. I give so much information out there. If you want a more thorough thing, then definitely coaching. Now, that being said, it's never a question of resources, Nick. It's always a question of resourcefulness. So my first coaching that I got, I was just started brokerage. I was mid-20s. I paid for a program, 5Gs, to go into States for like a mastermind. 5Gs US, but I did not have $2 to rub together. I didn't even know how I got that, but I knew as soon as I saw that, I'm like, I need to be there. I need to go to this thing. And I found a way to kind of get it. I found a credit card and I did this and I did that. I got some money from my parents and made it happen. So the reality of the matter is, if somebody really wants to get to the next level, you have to get uncomfortable with it. And the finance kind of plays a role with that. Now, that being said, I gave you two opportunities. If you don't have that money right now, beautiful. Can you afford $30? Go buy a book. You know how much knowledge is in here? It's crazy. It's crazy how much information you get. Like, let's think about it. Like another one I'm gonna pull out right now. Okay, this is Marcus Aurelius' Meditation. Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor, probably one of the greatest emperors of all time. You have straight access to his mindset right in here, how he was thinking. So for you to let this slide is actually, you're not helping yourself. So that being said, if you're someone that's thoroughly interested in your self-development, there's ways to go out there and get it. And once you're ready to invest in a higher ticket item to get a better value, you'll find the resources necessary, essentially. That's what I've done, and that's what I've felt with everybody. And yes, it is going to be uncomfortable before it becomes comfortable. Think like of a butterfly. When the butterfly goes into the cocoon before becoming a butterfly, the snail, it's super uncomfortable in that.
Yeah.
They get warm, they get strong, and for like months, they're like squeezed up, and then they become this beautiful thing. Understand there is no success without the struggle before it. So you have to embrace it and be a part of that.
Very, very true. And I know that, and maybe you agree with this or you don't agree with this. They say that the most important, because obviously you need to invest. If you want to grow, you got to invest in real estate, gold, silver, whatever the investments you make. Everyone their own investments. But the most important investment you can make is in yourself.
100. So okay, that comes, I 100% agree with you. That comes to something that I like to talk about when it comes to, debt. Okay, so there's consumer debt and there is investment debt, right? So consumer debt is like, imagine buying this shirt, even though I have 20 other ones. Consumer debt could be buying a car. If I already have one that works perfectly, but I want to get the next model, whatever the case is, that's actual debt, consumer debt. But investment debt is, imagine getting a coaching service and putting it on your credit card, or like me going to a seminar, paying $5K, putting it on my credit card. That's going to give me so much more return in the back end, or even in the present moment, that is going to trump everything else. So that's investing in yourself. So the first thing I would actually tell people to invest on is in yourself. Let me actually throw it back to you. I know that you do real estate investing, you and Jimmy and all that stuff. What's the first thing you did, Nick? Before investing in properties, what's the first thing you did?
Coach.
You got investment within yourself. You paid a coaching service because you're like, how am I going to do this if I don't know how to do it? You pay somebody that teaches you. Once you got that, then what is that going to do? Then you're going to buy a property, then buy another one, then buy another one. And then from there, that's going to create generational wealth for you. That's where the reality is. So you have to always, number one thing, invest in yourself. You invest in yourself so much that everything else is going to kind of work out. And then you're going to find ways to invest to get passive income in several different streams if you want to become multimillionaire, whatever the case is, or just financial freedom, let's talk about. So yeah, invest in yourself is the most important thing.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's not about what the cost is, but rather the returns.
So that's another thing. And you're in sales as well, and you're a very good salesman. And I've been in my whole life in sales as well, and I still believe I'm in sales. I think everybody is. The number one thing I perceive and I show to my clients is that I don't tell them, oh, this coaching program is, your investment is going to cost this much. No, I tell them what is the possibility for you to go get, which is this, and this is how much you have to pay within that. So even this could be looking a lot if it's by itself, but in the bigger spectrum, if we take a step back and frame it, you realize that, wait a minute, this has potential to bring me millions and millions. Like we said, like the real estate investing that you did, for you to get that course, probably cost you a couple of G's, US, or whatever the case is. It's a lot of money, but at the end of the day, that could give you generational wealth. If you put in the time, you put in the effort, and you invest your money within it. So 100%, that's the base of everything.
And talking about, coaching, let's say somebody, were to work with you, right? They decide, you know what, I want to invest in myself. I'm ready. I want to take my life to the next level in every aspect of my life. What would you say the results can be? Let's say with 1 year, what can somebody expect? Let's say somebody's working with you for 1 year. What can be the results that they should expect?
So another very honest question, a lot of people that start with me or to get on a phone, they always ask that. And to be quite honest, I can't say anything tangible because it really depends about the person. I could tell you experiences that I've had with my coaching clients, and I'll ask you to answer that as well. But I have clients that started working with me literally 3 weeks after you start working, the text, black and white, is written down like, Chris, I've doubled my income since in 3 weeks that I've worked with you. Chris, I've lost X number of weight. Chris, my business is going like this. Chris, my relationships have been going skyrocket, this, that, and the other. So it's not really tangible on the aspect of black and white, but I guarantee anybody works with me for 1 year, they're so much better off with me in their corner than without, and their life in every aspect, they're gonna get the competitive edge. And this is one thing I work as well. I don't just work on numbers and whatever, like Nick. I work on your happiness. I work on, I want this person to wake up every single day thoroughly happy to do whatever they're doing, spending time with their kids, spending time within their business. So you get great returns. And I'm talking about this, I'm talking about me, I'm just talking about general coaching. And I'm talking like this because I've thoroughly seen how it's changed my life from where it was to where it is and where it's going. And that potential could happen with anybody. And Nick, I'm actually going to throw you the ball with that question. If you don't mind, if you want to be essentially tell your story about that, what have you seen in a return working with me in the last, we've been working together for the last 3 months, if I'm not mistaken, a slightly bit more around that. What have you seen in a return? Have you seen some tangible returns? Because that question you just asked me, you asked me the day that we started working together. You're like, Chris, what's going to happen to me? Please tell me what's your perspective now doing 3 months with me?
Look, I used to wake up at 8 in the morning. I would rush, get ready, go to the office, and go in full groggy and not ready for the day, right? And then you told me, okay, listen, Nick, you got to wake up earlier and earlier every day, but you cannot go from, let's say, 8 o'clock down to 5 a.m.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make any sense. You have to do it slowly and consistently. So every day, my goal is basically, you were telling me, Nick, focus on improving yourself a little bit more every single day.
Yeah.
And man, I went from waking up at 8 to 3 months later, now I'm at 4:45.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen overnight. And we added a routine and everything. So obviously, going through my day, I feel like the hours pass much quicker. I'm more efficient. I'm doing the things that I need to do, and I get the job done. So honestly, the return for me is priceless. And I know that I personally haven't even got started yet. So I'm very, very happy for that. And yeah, I'm excited for even more results and adding new routines, better habits.
Yeah.
Morning routine, night routine. It's amazing, man. I love it.
Bro, thank you for that. That's the reason why I do what I do, because I thoroughly love that, because I have been and I still am on the other side of being coached by another coach and knowing how that changed my life. So if I have in this small sense anything that I could do with other people, it's thrilling to me. And like you said, you're coming into the day with more productivity. You're coming in the day with a positive attitude. You're coming in the day with a better mindset. How can these three things, or even more, not bring that financial returns, emotional returns, freaking like body returns, health returns? How is that possible? It's just inevitable. It's just not something that we could tangibly explain. I can't tell you it's going to be this, that, because it's not. It really depends per person. But I guarantee if somebody's committed to it, I will get you from where you are to where you want to be and beyond, which is the truth.
And Haas, you're right. It's like getting a personal trainer to the gym.
It's exactly that as well. Like a personal trainer, if you look at it, the base of it is like what? You're paying somebody to spot you. No. You're paying somebody for knowledge. You're paying to cut the learning curve in half. It's as simple as that. And let me actually give an example over here. I was actually just talking with my co-author. I'm actually writing a book about the correlation between sports and business, and very similar to what we're talking about now. And we just hired, the person I'm writing the book with is actually Matt, the owner of the CrossFit Laval. And we just hired somebody that he is coaching us with the book structure of how we should develop that. And after we did our first meeting with him and we started working, I just had a meeting with Matt and I told him, how did you think and all that? He's like, Chris, he's like, everything that he taught us, I sort of got, he's like, we would have picked it up, but maybe we would have picked it up in 3 years. Now we're going to pick it up in 3 months. So you're just cutting the learning curve. So once you have somebody like that, you're learning. And that workout coach, the same thing. You could work out by yourself and get the results, but you're not going to get it as fast because the person has the experience, has the wherewithal, has tested with himself and his clients certain things. So he's giving you a direct answer. That's what literally people are investing the coaching program in. That's what it comes down to.
Jimmy was asking before, is there any type of a guarantee around your services? Like, do you offer to your clients, let's say, any type of guarantee or anything?
So usually, it's a very good question. Like, here's the thing. I'm not, the way I could explain it, so I'm a one-stop shop when it comes to my coaching program right now, right? It's me. So I'm the explanation like of the butcher in your neighborhood, right? You could go to Costco and buy meat. Now that's like a company. And the same thing, imagine if you go to Tony Robbins, like let me explain it to him being like Costco, which is a great service. You're gonna go in there, you're gonna get that thing. But once you go to your local butcher, he's gonna be behind there and he's gonna be like, hey, what do you want? Hey, Nick, how was that? How did you cook it and all that? It's more personalized service. So I have that personality with my clients as well. So if ever somebody starts working with me and after a couple of weeks, a month just does not work out, even though we have a contract, I'm not going to keep somebody that doesn't want to work with me and vice versa. So there is that thing. That being said, and I state this and I tell this to everybody, it has never happened. Anybody that start working with me, that situation happens and we drift apart for negative reasons. It's never happened, because as much as the client has a choice to work with me, I have a choice to pick the clients. And that's what I do as well. I offer a free consultation in the beginning to see if it matches. Because sometimes I talk with somebody and maybe this person wants X, Y, and Z, but I can't offer them X, Y, and Z. I do the rest. So then I find somebody that could offer them F, Y, and Z, and I give them towards that person, another coach, or whatever the case is. So yeah, there always is that guarantee, and I've never had a negative return on that end.
And has it ever happened to you that you refuse clients?
They have never got on a phone call with me. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
I know some people, like, they could be interested, but I know they're not a fit. They've never gone to a point to get to the first actual free consultation call, which actually I'll offer to all your followers as well. If anybody's interested within my services, go on my website, ChristopherDedeyan.com/coaching, and you can just fill up an application, and then we'll take a time to do a free 30-minute consultation to see if there's a fit. The people that I need to serve usually come my way, and the people that need me, I usually go their way. There's like something happens in the universal work. So yeah, I've never gotten anybody that shouldn't be on a call with me for whatever reason.
Okay. And if you can, obviously being in this positive vibes and all that good stuff, if you could describe a bit your morning routine, like what do you do in the morning right when you wake up? What is your morning routine? If you could just describe it a bit.
All right, let's go. So wake up at 4 a.m. First thing I do, I go brush my teeth, wash my face. Then I make my bed. After that, I'm meditating for anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes. After my meditation, now I'm gonna give you the example that I'm not in quarantine. We're not in COVID-19, my usual one. So after my meditation, I go to my home office, and then I do my first thing, which is my affirmations. So I have a bunch of quotes, a bunch of things that I read, and I read my goal for the year. I read out all my goals, and then I start reading my affirmations, my I am. So what kind of person I want to project myself. I get myself in a positive state, my physiology and all that. Afterwards, I sit down, I start journaling. I journal 3 things that I'm grateful for. What am I excited about during my day? What might potentially trip me up during my day? So I'm already expecting things that are going to bother me, and I'm trying to cut the corners. So if I'm going to talk to a client X, Y, and Z, or somebody's not happy, I try to project how can I react in a better way. Then I set my intention for the day. I write that down black and white. What is my goal for the day? Like today I wrote down, obviously I have a live with Nick and Jimmy show. How do I want to present myself? What do I want to project? I write all those things down. After that, I set my top 3 things that I want to attain for the day. I usually do just top 3. If I do these top 3 things, my day is a success. And that could be as easy as sending an email. That could be as finishing one project. That could be posting and editing and putting a video on my YouTube channel, whatever the case is. And then at that point, that usually brings me to like around 5:45, which I head off to the gym. I do CrossFit until 6 until like 7:30ish. Then I come home, I read my first 15 minutes, and then I'm in the shower, and my day is going to start. 9 o'clock, I'm at the office, usually even earlier, starting coaching calls, either preparing speeches or whatever the case is that I have to do for that day.
That's awesome. So you have basically almost 5 hours to yourself, no distraction.
Yeah. Wow. So like my distraction starts like for as soon as I leave to the gym, and that's a different thing, and that's a different energy, that's a different Christopher that shows up at that point. But yeah, it's usually I have like an hour and a half, that moment of like that dark, like from 4 to like 5, an hour 45 essentially, because I leave the house at 5:45. Yeah, that's like that moment that's very thorough for me. And during that time, if I have some extra time, I work on projects that I need to work on the most, that demand the most cerebral and the most creativeness. That's one thing I suggest as well for your clients. I never put any meetings in the morning. They're all in the afternoon, because as your day goes down, there's actually studies that show the more decisions you take, the less your decisions will be good at the end of the day. So anything that demands the most cerebral aspect, anything that demands the most creativity for me, is the first thing I put in the morning, and I block off some time. And then the things that are less cerebral, imagine I need to speak to a business partner for this, that, and the other, it's more chatting, I put that at the end, or meetings like interviews, I put that at the end of the day as well.
Awesome. And how do you find that the COVID-19 has impacted you personally on a personal level? And on a business side? And what advice can you give?
So Has it impacted me? I mean, 100%. I think nobody's going to sit here and say that it hasn't impacted them. And if they do, they're probably lying in some way, shape, or form. Some people are reacting to it a lot better than others, granted, but everybody's been affected. So just like anybody, it has affected me. So one aspect is for sure, I'm somebody that's like you're noticing, and my mindset is at extremely high level all the time. But this, when it hit, I had to restructure myself, because we're talking about creating anchors and neural networks, which I had created with all the structure I just explained to you with my gym and all that. Now take away my gym, take away this, my motivation was a bit different. So I had to figure out, how can I motivate myself? How could I inspire myself to keep the same style of thorough structure that's gonna keep me going? So that's what I did, some workouts here and there. It took me literally a week and a half to get that going. Now I'm somewhat comfortable with the new routine that I've created. Now, what that affected with my business, obviously, like I said, I'm a professional speaker. Ain't nobody hiring speakers now. Nobody's traveling left and right? Everybody's within. So all the business about the speaking, all the things that I was negotiating with the companies to go give speeches, all the things I was negotiating on, like I was actually gonna become, and I am gonna become a speaker on the cruise line celebrity cruises. I'm gonna start doing that hopefully by 2021 at this point. That completely stopped because you guys know what's happening on cruise lines. So that side of the business really stopped. And honestly, it pissed me off, it bothered me. But at the same time, I took a step back. I'm like, listen, what do I have to complain? Nothing. We're healthy, we're good. So let's restructure. Then I took it myself and I changed my mindset and asked the proper question is, what can I do right now? How can I serve? And I realized, I'm like, all right, cool. I have 50% of my business is online, which is all my coaching clients, which is this and that. So I'm like, let me lean into that so much harder. And that's what I've been doing. I've been actually developing and actually getting more coaching clients during this period than before. My coaching clients have all stayed with me, knock on wood, been supporting them and been working just like you guys as well. And I'm actually signing new coaching clients. So right now, what I've been working on, I'm like, let me lean into who I could support with my coaching clients. Let me lean on doing some online courses that are coming up. Let me lean on my book. Let me do this, let me do that. And let me just stay ready for when the gates open up. I'm not a fat cat, but I am a lion ready to jump and take on the world.
I love it. Dimitri's asking, what changed the most for you guys in your routines from the quarantine?
Okay, do you want to answer that first or you want me to jump in?
Go ahead, man.
All right, so what changed for me is 100% restructuring a anchor. So for me, the workout was an anchor. Whatever happens, I always was doing that. Now I have to restructure and find new anchors. So that anchor for me now is yoga and walking, to be quite honest. The workout kind of comes here and there. I'm still very committed to it. But what is the anchor for me is the morning I wake up and I go out for a walk. Before I just did that in the afternoon or just for pleasure. But just to go out of the house, that's the main thing. So I've created new anchors. So that's the main thing in itself that I had to utilize to keep myself in a normal mindset. How about you, Nick? What have you changed during this time?
Well, as you know, when I first got the news that we have to go on complete lockdown, it was really very, very tough mentally. But then we got on a phone call together, and I was telling you, look, what's the point of doing these morning routines if I'm not going to the office?
Yeah.
And then you told me that basically like you just said right now, instead of thinking like a weak person and thinking the negative. Well, why don't you just take advantage of this to build up your routine and persevere through it, so that when everything goes back to normal again, you're that lion, like you said, right? So yeah. I've been doing that, man, and I love it. Honestly, I freaking love it, man. I'm very grateful and privileged to be able to have a coach, right? So
I appreciate that, brother, and I'm privileged to serve you guys as well. 100%, man, 100%. And I always say this, and it's gonna sound cheesy, but I thoroughly believe it. This has nothing to do with Christopher Dedeyan, and it has nothing to do with Nick, bro. Those are given names by our parents. The reality of the matter is we're just a vehicle the universe's work. And when I'm speaking to you, the universe is just using me as a vehicle, giving you the information that I have to you because that information needs to go to you. And then you do that same thing to your family, you do the same thing to your clients, to your nephew, whoever it is. So there is this interlinked connectivity within the world that I thoroughly believe everybody's here to serve. We just have to find a way that we're gonna serve. And maybe for you, serving is, I own a cupcake company and you're serving this great cupcake, awesome. Maybe the other person is, I'm a janitor and I love doing that. Maybe the other person is, I'm the CEO of this, that, whatever. We're just here to serve. And we're trying to bring value within everybody's righteousness, essentially. So that's the way I look at that.
Who is Christopher Dedeyan in 5 years from now? And what are you telling your present self?
Yeah. 5 years from now, I am one of the greatest keynote speakers of our modern time. That's at minimum. And I used to like put a lot on the 5 year goals, but I'm not anymore, or any type of yearly goals. I do have some deadlines and all that stuff, but I kind of let it flow. Life has directed me in ways that I can't even believe and fathom to understand, to be quite honest. I think it's a like power greater than us. So all I could do is control my day to get there. But yeah, that's really what I see. Like I think life is preparing me to bring the most valuable. And if that is a speaker, that it is. And if it's something else, it's going to be something else. So really the underlying thing is serving others as much as possible, serving myself, serving my community. So that's the answer I would give to that.
And what is your future self telling your present self right now?
Enjoy the process. Let it take its time, man. Because oh my, that was a freaking good question. Again, let me dive into my not negative beliefs, but my biggest fears is that even though I know that I am beyond qualified to what I'm doing and I'm getting there and all that stuff, you have to enjoy the journey as much as the result. And I've noticed that in several other things that I've done in my life, with money, with not money, with real estate, with this, with that. And this process that you're going through, even though it might be difficult, even though you're here or there, whatever the case is, enjoy this process because it's going to happen. Just like example, like if somebody starts working on it and they're not in shape and they never ate healthy and they start eating healthy, not because they did one workout and they ate one salad that they're going to be yoked and being in shape. No, but if they keep on eating respectfully and healthy and they keep on working out every single day, I don't know when, maybe it's going to be a week, maybe a month, maybe a freaking 3 months, maybe a year, but at a certain point, they're going to look themselves in the mirror and they're going to be really in shape. So if you just trust the process and you keep on doing it, it's going to happen. So I don't know when it's going to happen, but if I keep true to myself, to my purpose, it's going to happen. So that's what I would tell myself.
And actually, in the morning when I listen to affirmations, they're saying there's a speaker that says instead of focusing on these big goals, this and that, just focus on improving yourself a little bit more every single day.
Yeah.
And eventually, the compound effect, you're gonna have everything, and you're gonna attract everything. It's all about working here.
It's all that, bro. It's the basis of everything. You want to succeed in life, understand how the biochemistry of your brain works. Honestly, I think life is a game of biochemistry. Once you understand how to use it, you could utilize it within your advantage.
And talk to us about, because talk about super strong mindset. I personally don't know anyone who has the mindset that you have to be able to go 10 days with not speaking, no phone, nothing, straight silence, complete isolation, as if basically you're in jail.
Yeah.
But you're not, and you can't talk to nobody for 10 days.
Yeah,
That's a crazy experience, man.
So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. So yeah, you're talking about the silent meditative retreat that I did, of a Vipassana retreat last summer. So it was 10 days of just meditating. I mean, in those 10 days, I did over 100 hours of meditating. And yeah, it was intense in such a great way. It was one of the most fulfilling things I've done in my life and one of the most hardest things I've done in my life. And I've done like marathons, I've done long distance things, I've done crazy workouts, and I've went through the education system being dyslexic. I've done a bunch of things personally, in my personal opinion, that I've went through. But this was one of the top ones because the reality of the matter is, Nick, when you are by yourself, it's the most vulnerable position you're going to be, because you start thinking about all your successes, all your failures, you start thinking about things that you never knew that it bothered you, but it comes back, like conversation you had 3 years ago with a person, you're like, oh my God, how is this happening? But that is when the most development happens. When I go on stage, people come up to me like, oh my God, Chris, you were so vulnerable talking about this, talking about that. But the reality of the matter is the place that you're the most vulnerable is you by yourself. So when you put yourself in a position of really being with your own thoughts, which you're meditating and all that, that's when real, sustainable, foundational heals are actually healed and created for the future. So yeah, I did it because challenge myself. I would do it again. Actually, I am going to do it again for sure, and so many other challenges. And the reason why I do crazy things like that, like I run a marathon with only 7 weeks of like preparation. Like obviously I'm always fit, but I've never ran a marathon. 7 weeks before, I decided to run a marathon and raise money for the Breast Cancer Association of Quebec. I put myself in these situations, so when I accomplish them, when I have other difficult moments, I always remember about what I've accomplished, and I'm like, all right, cool, I could do this, and so on and so forth.
Good for you,
Anyways,
man.
Nick, that being said, bro, I'm seeing the time kind of trickle down. I have actually another coaching call at 1, so it's coming up in 2 minutes. So let's actually wrap up, if you don't mind, in the next few minutes. We could actually rant like this nonstop, which I thoroughly love, and we'll redo it if you want. But yeah, I have to
No,
jump off.
I just want to basically say, man, that you inspire me, and I'm sure you inspire a lot of people because you went from, dyslexic to becoming the #1 keynote speaker in the world, like you said, eventually.
God willing, yeah.
And we're big fans of yours, man. We support you 100%, and we appreciate your time. If anyone wants to follow you, how can they follow you, Chris? And if they want to get that free session you said about the coaching, the discovery call, like you call it.
Exactly, discovery call. So first of all, thank you very much, Nick, for having me. Thank you for this conversation. As you know, bro, you're a brother, so is Jimmy. Like, I love being in you guys' corner by all means. So thank you for this. So if you want people to reach out to me, obviously on all social media, I'm at Christopher Dedeyan. So you guys have linked it up everywhere. I'm going to invite you guys to go check out my YouTube channel. I do a lot of book reviews, mindset work, and all that stuff. So once again, YouTube, Christopher Dedeyan, go check that out. And furthermore, if you do want the free consultation, please, by all means, contact me. You could go on ChristopherDedeyan.com/coaching. So once again, ChristopherDedeyan.com/coaching. You can have a bit more of explanation of what my coaching services are, a couple of questions to answer, and then we'll set up a call together within both of our agendas, and we'll take the time to really see how I could support you, and we'll take it from there. Like I said, I'm offering the 30-minute free consultation for you and your community, essentially.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. I know you have to go. There's a few more questions, but it's okay. We know you're busy. Thank you for your time, brother.
I'll answer it another time if you want. Some way, somehow, I'll definitely answer it.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for your time.
All right.
Follow Christopher Dedeyan. Follow the Nick and Jimmy Show, and have a blessed day, everyone.
All right. Thank you, my brother. Have a great one.
Man.